Hey, and welcome to another tutorial. Today I will show you how to create this Cristiano Ronaldo logo inside Microsoft PowerPoint. So the left one is an image, the right one is the logo created inside Microsoft PowerPoint. So let's get started. I will start in the blank presentation. I already have this logo in here, but I will select Format, Colors drop down. I will select this gray preset which will fade out colors a little bit just so we can clearly see what we are drawing. And we will most likely start with the letter C. So I will start with the shape being the insert shape, this one. This is the circle hello. And I will draw it with my shift key being pressed and kind of try to match the outer size of the letter C. Now obviously once you draw the shape you cannot see anything because the fill is fully opaque, so I'll open the fill properties and set the colors to be transparent a little bit, maybe to like 60%. Then I will drag the yellow handle trying to match the inner circle part. You can see it's not like a real circle, it's a little bit distorted, but I guess we are fine with this shape. I will insert a new rectangle and I will draw it in the size of the gap in here. Then I will select the circle, the rectangle, and select Format, Merge Shapes, Subtract, which will subtract the rectangle from the circle, and we get the C shape, just like this, without any effort. So I will continue with the R shape. Now the right part seems to be like a circle, but you know, it's just a little bit different. It's hard to tell because the image is in quite low resolution. But I guess that instead of using the circle, I will use the rounded rectangle this time. So I will select a new rounded rectangle and I will draw it more from the left side, maybe like this. Again, I have to set the transparency to some value just so I can see what's below. Maybe if I right click and select set as default shape, you know, the next time I draw the shape, it will already be transparent because it will take this fill and outline options, which is a great, you know, time saver. So again, I will set the roundness a little bit more, maybe not the all the way up, but maybe a little bit less, like this. Position it using my arrow keys, and I will make sure that it goes all the way to the left side. Later on I will, I will just subtract some shape out of this shape. I will copy paste it one more time, resize it to a smaller shape, maybe like this, maybe make it a little bit more rounded, you know, as much as rounded as it could be. Position it properly using my arrow keys. Then we need a new rectangle which I will draw for this stem like this, and then we need this part. Maybe actually before I start doing anything, let's quickly subtract some of those shapes. So I'll select the big shape, the smaller shape, select subtract. Then I want to subtract something else from it, so maybe inner rectangle, which I will also subtract. So merge shapes, subtract, just so we only have this right part. And now usually when I'm drawing those kind of shapes, like the bottom part of the letter R, I will draw maybe a shape, maybe, I don't know, maybe this one. This is the parallelogram, which I would try to somehow, sorry, not moving the image, but just rotating this like so, and dragging the yellow handle to match the angle like this. I guess that works. Maybe it's just a little bit hard to guess the right angle. Another way how to draw this part of the letter R would be to just simply draw a new rectangle, or I will just reuse this rectangle, just copy paste it and rotate it by the same angle as it should be. I will move it along this part, and now what I can do is I can most likely draw another rectangle in here, which I will try to align with the bottom one like this. I will select this shape, that shape, and that shape, so all those three shapes, and I will select merge shapes, fragment. That will create us a lot of different shapes. You can see this, there is the shape which we don't need, this is the shape which we don't need, there is even one or two more shapes which we don't need. So those are now separate shapes which we need to connect together back. But the upside of using this solution is of course that we have the right angle down here, and we don't need to care about somehow merging those parts with the parallelogram. The downside is most likely when I select merge shapes union, sometimes those shapes will not match perfectly, so I would have to just use my arrow keys to move some of those shapes a little bit up or down or to any direction to kind of overlap the other shapes a little bit. But seems like that right now everything looks fine. So I will continue with this number 7, which is of course at the same time the lighting. So I will insert a new shape and I will use this freeform shape tool. So I'll select freeform shape and I will start tracing it by just clicking on the vertices. So here should be one, another vertex should be here. I will press the shift key just so it's snapping to 0 degrees. Insert a new vertex here, one more down here. I will continue for this one. maybe actually I can probably not try to trace it properly, but maybe go up like this, and I will show you why I did it. Actually, I've just created a new vertex in here which I don't want, so I will press the backspace key on my keyboard and I will add a new vertex in here. And again, I will show you in a minute why I did draw it like this. And the reason is, when I now create a new rectangle which I will subtract, I will be sure that those lines are matching perfectly. Actually, I will not subtract this shape. I will select both shapes and I will select merge shapes fragment. And again, the reason for this is we will get a lot of extra steps or a lot of extra shapes, but now those two shapes are separate, and that's kind of needed because we need the different colors for those two shapes. So I will select all my shapes, move them to the right side, move the original logo to the left side, select format, reset picture, and I will select those three shapes which should be green. Select format, shape fill, and I will use the eyedropper tool to sample the green color. For the 7 shape, I will use the eyedropper to sample the red color. And for all the shapes, I want the outline to be no outline. And that's it. That's how you create the CR7, the Cristiano Ronaldo logo inside Microsoft PowerPoint in almost no time. Thanks for watching.